Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Delighted to have you here. My name is Kate Becker. I'm the director of the Office of Film and Music. And we have a fabulous speaker tonight, Courtney Sheehan. Before we go into that, I just want to tell you that we are moving these events next month. We've been happy to be here at Mopop, but we can't stay here long term, lovely as it is. And we are moving to the other side of Seattle Center campus, and we will rotate through KEXP, the Vera Project, and SIF, all of which are right next to each other. So we will be in one of those three venues last Wednesday of every month. We hope you'll join us there. And we'll put all the details out in our newsletter. So please do join us. And with that, I'd like to introduce Courtney Shan. This woman runs the Film Forum, the Northwest Film Forum, and has so many great things going on there. I'm excited for her presentation tonight, and she can tell you more about what's happening at the Film Forum. But Courtney rocks and really brings so much to our film community here. So welcome, Courtney Sheehan.
You are too kind, Kate. Okay, before we launch into anything, we're going to watch the trailer for the 20th edition of the Local Sightings Film Festival. And rotoscope, actually. So, who has never heard of Northwest Film Forum? You've heard of it, excellent. Who has never been to Northwest Film Forum? All right, so we are Seattle's independent film center. We've been around since 1995, founded as a post-production collective called Wiggly World Studios. Yes, that is a Devo reference. And since then have grown up and run a year-round facility in the heart of Capitol Hill on 12th Ave between Pike and Pine. We have 2 movie theaters there where we're showing independent films all year round that aren't screened in any other venue in Seattle, and for the most part, any other theaters in the country. And we also have a really robust kind of offering of artist services and educational workshops for film and media makers kind of at all stages of your career. So I'm here tonight to tell you a little bit about the Local Sightings Film Festival, which is coming up at the end of September, as you saw. It is our annual regional festival, the only festival for Pacific Northwest films and filmmakers in Seattle. And also to just tell you a little bit more about the things that we do that hopefully, if you're a filmmaker, can help you. And how many film people that are making things are in the audience? Okay. What other industries are represented? I'm curious. Audio, television, advertising. Excellent. So we're at the intersection of the various moving image media industries. Excellent. Okay. So and we're here as a nonprofit to support you as makers. So definitely feel free to reach out to us anytime. Visit us on the Hill. Come up to me and tell me what you want and what you need as a filmmaker and as an artist. All right, so Local Sightings specifically is one of our largest annual programs. It started as a very humble screening of work that friends made with each other through the Wiggly World programs, and has grown up and is now the 20th edition this year. We're really excited. We've got a lot of special events for that, and also the opening weekend will be filmed by the Criterion Collection's new streaming channel, which is called the Criterion Channel on Filmstruck, and it's in partnership with Turner Classic Movies. They're going to be doing a documentary portrait about Northwest Film Forum, and they asked me, when's a good time to come capture the place? And I was like, Local Sightings. And you'll find out why when I tell you about it. This festival is truly regional in nature. The region as defined by the Northwest is Washington, Oregon, Montana, Idaho, Alaska, the Yukon, and British Columbia. And yes, we do have a feature-length film from the Yukon this year. It's Shakespearean, actually. It's called the Grubstake Remix. That's the name of a film. It's very fascinating, and you should come see it. There are over 75 films in the main program, and then more in the various special sidebars. A total of over 30 events and screenings, 8 shorts programs, 27 world premieres, and 4 feature world premieres. And we're especially excited about the 20th anniversary, just so happens, of the canonical Seattle music documentary, Hype, which will be playing at the Egyptian Theater, co-presented with SIF, with the director and producer and film subjects in attendance. So if you haven't seen this documentary about grunge in the immediate aftermath of the peak of grunge in Seattle, it's absolutely required as a Seattle resident, and it's going to be a really fun time because we're putting together a little bit of a super group to play at the show. The entire festival schedule with ticket sales are going live tomorrow. And if you haven't already picked up one of these postcards, did everybody get one? Did anybody not get one? This is a really good way to pass them around. So yeah, all those ticket sales are going live tomorrow. And I also see some filmmakers in the audience. If you have a film in local settings, raise your hand. Right on. Yes, give it up. These are the people that are making this community happen. There are also, of course, awards and prizes. We've got cash and artist support awards for Best Feature, Best Short. The Seattle Composers Alliance is really awesome, and they do a Best Composition prize every year for Best Feature and Short. And there's an audience award that's sponsored by Naked City Brewery. I wanted to make sure this year to really pack the festival program with industry and educational opportunities for film and media makers, because it's really just one of the most useful things that I think we can do as a physical space to provide to the community is the opportunity to access industry professionals, especially ones that aren't normally in town. So the way that we're doing that, especially this year, is through our jurors. We always have juried film awards, and this year we selected the jurors especially so that they could teach workshops based on their expertise. So we're bringing them into town to do that. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about those folks. There's going to be a 360 and sort of VFX and VR workshop taught by a guy named Scott Squires. He is the CTO and creative director at Pixvana, which is one of the VR startups here in town. And before joining Pixvana, he was the CTO at Lucasfilm's Industrial Light Light and Magic, and he actually sort of saw that company through their transition from analog to digital film. So a lot of fascinating experience from that. And he's also received Oscar nominations and industry awards for Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, The Mask, and Dragonheart. So really excellent expertise that will be in town for that. He's also won an Academy Award for scientific and engineering. And then we've also got the director of acquisitions for Bleecker Street, which is a distribution company. Right now they've got Logan Lucky out in theaters, which I recommend. Has anybody seen it? It's like box office is doing terribly, but I think this movie is actually really fun. It's just like Steven Soderbergh's like, I'm not making movies anymore, and then he like made this movie, and it's like, it's a really good time, actually. Did you like it, David? Yeah, go see it. It's good. They also distributed Jarmusch's last film, Patterson, as well as Captain Fantastic, shot in part here in our fair region. So the director of acquisitions there, Camille Bertrand, is coming out as a juror, and her workshop will be about acquisitions. She's on that early side of distribution, in that sales stage, the script review stage, putting that valuation on a project and trying to see how it's going to perform in the marketplace. So a very specific part of what I know for many of us continues to be an overwhelming and fraught world of film distribution, because who knows what's going on. So this is somebody who really does have a handle on it, very important part of that process. So I really recommend coming out for that. And then we've also got a terrific filmmaker on the jury named Carolyn Monette. She's from Quebec, and she's coming out and showing in her workshop a lot of her work, which has screened at Cannes and Toronto and Sundance, and also a lot of more exhibition settings in museums and galleries. And she's a First Nations filmmaker, so a lot of her focus is on Indigenous peoples in Canada, and her work is like very, very beautiful. So, very kind of internationally positioned filmmaker. I can't speak highly enough about her work. And then there's also, how many people are familiar with Seed and Spark, the crowdfunding platform? So this is a very helpful crowdfunding platform specifically for independent film. And the education lead there, Julie Keck, is on the jury, and she's going to teach a workshop about crowdfunding, specifically in terms of how to find, talk to, and learn from your audience, how to pick the perfect crowdfunding goal and incentives, what goes into a successful crowdfunding communication strategy, and how to grow your audience even after you complete the campaign. Of course, kind of capitalizing on how the crowdfunding stage of a film production is a critical audience building stage, which leads to distribution. So Seed and Spark, because they do distribution as well as crowdfunding, really understand that these two aspects are connected to each other and really specialize in that. So all really good juror workshops. I should mention that if you are a filmmaker in the festival or a member of Northwest Film Forum, you can come to all of these for free. And if you're not a member, you can come for a nominal price. But you should become a member if you're not already, because you get all year round deep discounts on tickets to film screenings, as well as to the workshops that we offer, and access to the artist support services such as access to gear and our edit lab, and you get to be a fiscal sponsored project. Is anybody here a fiscal sponsory film forum? We've got about 40 active projects in the program right now. So it's a really good way to just be in the know and get the best deals on all the things that we do at the forum. And we're going to be doing a special throughout the length of the festival. If you're not already a member of the forum, you can become so at the student rate, which is only $35 a year. And that gets you tickets at only $7. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The deals are ridiculous. It's like, it's a really, really good way to be part of our community. And that will only be good, that offer, through the dates of the festival. So September 22nd through 30th. Very convenient if you're coming to a screening or a workshop. You can just sign up right then. Then you can get into the next workshop for free, if you know what I'm saying. All right, so zooming back out, we've actually got a fair number of other professional development and just sort of industry events going throughout the festival that might be of interest to you guys. Kathy Shea, the grants manager at the Office of Arts and Culture, is going to be leading a workshop called Casting So White, Racial Bias in Film, TV, and Theater. And it's a discussion focused on understanding how racism works in the industry, how it affects our work, and more equitable ways to approach casting and production. And this is done in co-presentation with the Alliance of Professional Performers Northwest. So we're really excited about that. And there's also going to be a Bridging the Indie Gap workshop offered by Smart House Creative. It's for creative entrepreneurs of all types, but with a focus especially on filmmakers. It's going to cover digital marketing, audience cultivation and engagement, brand development, and more. And that one is free to everybody, as is the casting workshop. If you're curious because I talk really fast and I'm saying a lot of things and you're like, but what are the artist services that are relevant to me and my project right now? I would really recommend getting on your calendar on Thursday, September 28th. We're having an Education and Artist Services happy hour, where we will just be at your disposal for all of the questions. And I think a major service that the forum provides informally is, even if we don't do that specific thing, we know who does. And if you need a recommendation or a contact in a certain area, we frequently can hook you up in that regard. So definitely recommended there. Alrighty. It wouldn't be complete as a film festival without special events. And our opening night is Who's been to the opening night party of Local Sightings before? Okay, you know. It's sort of a legendary party. There's always a surprise. We, of course, cannot tell you what that is. But this year, the opening night event preceding the party is called Early Mistakes Live. It's going to be a live talk show with reputable filmmakers in our community sharing stories from early in their careers, because we all know how those formative early experiences messing things up are critical to our formation as the brilliant, masterpieces that we end up making. So that's going to include people like Jennifer Roth, who is Seattle's most formidable line producer. She's worked with Darren Aronofsky on multiple films, Black Swan, The Wrestler. Most recently, she worked on Reed Dees' Mudbound, which was the highest selling film at Sundance this year. And just so many movies. And she tells really good stories. As well as Megan Griffiths, who's a very talented director. Her most recent film, Night Stalker, has done really well. And she's going to be part of that, as well as S.J. Chiro, whose film Lane 1974 was the first Seattle feature to premiere at South by in recent years, and did really well and has been picked up by The Orchard for distribution. So a lot of people who really know their stuff, who are going to be bearing it all for our entertainment, and who knows, it might just be illuminating about how to learn something about how to not mess up craft services the next time. So that's the opening night event, and if you're a filmmaker in the festival, that's also free, of course. Oh no, I signed out Slade. Oh, there is. Okay, I won't say the password out loud for the sake of the city of Seattle government. Your secrets are safe with me. Rip up this Post-it note. Okay, so that event's going to be really good. And then it's going to be followed by a party which will become free and open to the public. So if you can't make it to the opening night event, or if it sells out too fast, you can also just come by for the party, which again will be filmed by the Criterion Collection. So Seattle, we've really got to represent, okay? We don't want them to think that we don't party hard on the Criterion channel. The costume theme for this party, I think you'll appreciate, is the film or filmmaker who made you fall in love with film. So sky's the limit on the interpretive, abilities there. It's going to be a good time. Please come party with us. Okay, and then if you have an interest in VR and 360, I really recommend an event that's happening on September 24th called Clear and Sweet 360, featuring Zoe Juniper, which is one of the most acclaimed performing arts and dance groups here in Seattle. They did a show last year at On the Boards called Clear and Sweet. They filmed it in 360, and now we're going to be kind of recasting that experience using the entire Film Forum venue, so you can watch an excerpt of it in 360. You can see the 2D version of the performance, which is just a beautiful show. There's going to be ongoing panel conversations about making art in VR and VR filmmaking, just sort of tapping all the folks in town who are doing really interesting work in that world. And are you familiar with sacred harp singing? I wasn't either. It's a Americana form of singing. It was part of their performance at On the Boards, and there's going to be some of that in it as well. We keep it fresh. And then also in the sort of music programming, we do a really popular series at the Forum called Puget Soundtrack, which somehow was not used as a name for anything else before, where we invite bands and musicians to choose a film that they want to do a live score for. And so the closing night this year is actually going to be a Puget Soundtrack with a really, really fun surf band here called Baywitch. And they're going to be scoring footage that's been compiled by MePops, the Moving Image Preservation of Puget Sound film archivist group, which I think probably has the best acronym of any film archivist and preservation group. Also sort of sounds like a cereal, or the place we're at right now. Anyway, so they've like compiled very fascinating archival footage of various Northwest moments, and Baywitch is going to do a live score for that. These are always so good, so it's a really good way to close out the night. And beyond that, there are, like I mentioned, 8 short programs, 13 feature films, and I think before we go into any Q&A, we will now look at some of the feature trailers that I'm particularly excited about. But first, I will type in the password, saying every letter out loud. It worked. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the videos, guy in the booth. All right, so the first video we're gonna watch is for semi-iconic, The Ballad of Dick Rosetti. Anybody know who Dick Rosetti is? Yes, one person. That seems appropriate. So he was a DJ on the radio station The End, and it's about his career, and I think it really speaks for itself.
How many times do I have to tell you, start with the f***ing laurels?
Do you do extreme sports?
Yeah.
Do you drink a high-energy drink?
Yeah.
Do you like pretty girls?
Yes, I do.
Where do you live? Where do you shop? I want to know you. You a big boy? You got big muscles on you?
Oh, yeah.
I'll bet you do. Now clean your room up.
This guy was in a really cool band, but was also a really, really great DJ.
Another movie about a Seattle radio DJ. Nobody gave a f*** about the last one.
This one is different.
Can we get another DJ to say he was fantastic?
It's not really that kind of film, you know?
Put it in the f***ing trailer. Give me a f***ing DJ saying he was f***ing fantastic.
My name's Andrew Harms, night DJ at K107 The End. Dick Rosetti, there's something about him. There's some sort of, like, Tourette's moment.
It's like, Rosetti, turn up the radio, dude.
Don't we have any other celebrities?
Where's the Grohl interview? Where's the Grohl interview? Forgot the Grohl interview.
We have the Grohl interview.
Dick Rosetti here with the legendary...
No, sod it. Let's not get our toss off in the preview. Maybe you can do your f***ing job and just give me a good one-liner.
You know what, Dick? You're pathetic. I want nothing to do with you and your little charade.
Good. We'll come back to that.
At what point did you go, I want to be a rock star?
Oh, it was this frustration I felt with my parents. I was alienated as a child. Things happened to me.
My father and I got into a fist fight. I was defending Paul McCartney and the Beatles. You don't have my back.
I look at you and I think, God, you're a good-looking guy.
Are you manic depressive? Have you ever been diagnosed?
I am beautiful.
You know what, Dick? You're pathetic. I want nothing to do with you and your little charade.
Come on. Let me scratch you under the chin.
No.
Look at me. Look at me.
No.
I got something that's gonna put a smile on your face.
Stop.
It's gonna put a smile
Don't
on
talk to me like that.
You ready?
If this is a boing or a punch sound, I'm gonna be very upset.
It's neither one. See? You're smiling.
You're a jerk.
You're smiling.
I don't know who you think you are. This whole DJ thing's gone to your head. Oh, man.
Okay, so that is a feature documentary from beautiful Tacoma that will be premiering here at the festival. Okay, the next one we're going to watch is for 6 Dynamic Laws for Success in Life, Love, and Money. This is from Idaho. Way to go, Idaho. And it stars Ross Partridge. And it's going to be a world premiere.
Six dynamic laws for success in life, love, and money.
Nice.
Short and sweet. We'll go to the next one. It's a noir. We can talk more about it later. Maybe we can watch it later. This is Buzz 1-4, which is a pretty fascinating backstory about a guy whose grandfather crashed a B-52 bomber during the Cold War, and it didn't blow up.
Air Force bombers carrying nuclear weapons fly around this country frequently, and it has to be assumed that sooner or later one of them somewhere, somehow, will crash.
The Strategic Air Command must keep a force in the air around the clock.
There had been a report of a B-52 bomber crashing somewhere in the area.
The plane had tipped sideways, the wing had hit the ground and made a cartwheel.
The whole sky turned red, all the way up to the top, as far as you could see right and left.
The bomb load is carefully cradled into the bomb bay. These devastating bombs are carried fully armed.
We can see fires burning. We can see the aircraft fuselage. We can see the tube thermonuclear bombs.
The big 8-engine B-52 jet was on a routine flight. The plane flew into a driving snowstorm. Then suddenly, something went wrong.
What happened was the tail ripped off, and the plane flipped upside down into a spin. Eventually, your grandfather realized, we can't save this plane.
True story from Portland filmmaker Matt McCormick. Eerily topical. We can hopefully learn things from the past. Okay, well, you know, this isn't what we're watching. Okay, so 6 Dynamic Laws for Success. Just go to the localsightings.org website tonight or tomorrow and watch it, and you can decide if you want to get tickets tomorrow. It's really fun, kind of comedic neo-noir. That was impressively made in Idaho. So we are basically out of time, so I might as well just open it up to questions briefly, and then we can also just keep chatting out and about for anybody who wants to hang around. Anything about either Local Sightings Film Festival, any of the support services or events, programs that we do at Northwest Film Forum, I'm here to help. Or answer, or attempt to.
Where is the Shadow Council this evening?
That's at Northwest Film Forum. Yeah. The Shadow Council is a parody of a city council meeting, which we do on a monthly basis. And the city of Seattle government is not affiliated with it whatsoever. I say this for Kate's behalf. It's hosted by comedian Brett Hamill. It's really funny. It's a people's legislative body. Yeah, so those September calendars just obviously have a lot of other events in addition to Local Sightings. We're doing a run of Lane 1974, that feature that SJ Chiro made and went to South by this year, the week before Local Sightings, and the filmmakers will also be there in attendance throughout. So definitely, if you're trying to connect with successful, feature filmmakers in Seattle, which is a small and mighty crew, definitely come out for this run if you haven't seen the film yet, because they'll be there every night. Awesome. Okay, well, I'll just be available if anybody wants to chat after this. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you, OFM and Kate, for hosting and producing.